All right, so Bikini Bottom Genetics 2. Make sure to put your name on it. That's why you get credit for what you did. All right, so use your knowledge of genetics to complete this worksheet. Number 1, use the information for SpongeBob's traits to write the phenotype. Remember, physical appearance is one of your vocab words for each item. Okay, so you can see the table here. You can see the different letters, S, Y, R, L, S, Y, R, L. Okay, these characteristics, the dominant and recessive, are going to pertain to this. So given genotypes, figure out the phenotype of it. Okay, so capital L, capital L. So again, this is homozygous dominant, or you can consider it purebred dominant. Look into the table, you can see the capital L is for long nose. So capital, homozygous dominant, you would have a long nose. Okay, simply write it down. Go to the next one. Lowercase y, lowercase y. So this is homozygous recessive or purebred recessive. So look over in the table, you can see yellow is dominant over blue, but since this is homozygous recessive, lowercase, lowercase, it becomes a blue body. Okay, next one, capital S, lowercase s, or heterozygous. Okay, rule of dominance, if the dominant one is there, it wins. Okay, so there's square pants is dominant over round pants, but since it's heterozygous or the dominant one is there, the phenotype will then be square pants. Okay, and you guys can do the rest of those. That's pretty easy. Just walk yourself through the homozygous dominance, recessive, heterozygous, so on. Just walk through here. This table or this chart is going to be important for most of this worksheet, so keep an eye on this. Okay, so let's go to number 2. Use the information in the chart number 1, which again is this, I was just talking about it, to write the genotype or genotypes for each trait below. So basically now we're doing the complete opposite. So now we have the yellow body, this is the phenotype. So if we go up to the top, you can see yellow is dominant over blue. Okay, so an easy one would be homozygous dominant. Okay, capital, both of those would work. But just like the heterozygous here, if it's a heterozygous capital Y, lowercase y, it is still yellow. The dominant one wins. So in this case, it would be genotypes. It would be plural. Okay, let's go to round pants. You can see square pants is dominant to round pants. So it can't be homozygous dominant because that wouldn't work. Can't be heterozygous because that wouldn't work. It'd still be square pants. Therefore, round pants has to be lowercase s, lowercase s. Next one, oval eyes. You can see here that round is dominant over oval. So, just like the last one, if it needs to be oval, it needs to be lowercase r, lowercase r. Okay, go through the rest of these and make sure you double check that some of them might have 2 genotypes to go with the phenotype. Okay, now we'll go to number 3. Determine the genotypes for each using the information in the chart number 1. Again, we're sticking with this chart up here. So heterozygous, round eyes. So you can see round is dominant to oval. Heterozygous, that hetero means different. So this would be capital lowercase because capital lowercase, those are different. Heterozygous means different. Okay, let's go to purebred. Now purebred and homozygous mean the same thing. So purebred square pants, okay, it can't be just like how the hetero, it can't be capital lowercase because that would be heterozygous. So purebred or homozygous square pants would be the capital and the capital together. So homozygous dominant or purebred. Would purebred and homozygous go hand in hand? Okay, you can have a purebred but recessive. So like, for example, oval eyes, this could be considered purebred oval eyes. Purebred is only the homozygous. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean the capital or the lowercase. Okay, let's go to this one, homozygous. So homozygous long nose, homo means same. So long nose, go up here, you can see it's capital L. So homozygous long nose, capital. Okay, now hybrid means heterozygous. They're the same thing. Okay, so hybrid or heterozygous, they're different for his yellow body. So you go up here, you can see yellow is dominant over blue. So hybrid would be capital Y, lowercase y. Okay. All right, now number 4. One of SpongeBob's cousins, Sponge Billy Bob, recently met a cute SquarePants gal, Sponge Gertie. So let's talk real quick. Let's break SquarePants, okay? Like we were talking about here, purebred SquarePants is either capital or homozygous, or it can be heterozygous as well. Okay, so at a local dance and they fell in love. Use your knowledge of genetics to answer the questions below. So, if Sponge Gertie's father, remember Sponge Gertie is the girl, if Sponge Gertie's father, he's heterozygous SquarePants. So his genotype, heterozygous, hetero means different, so he would be capital S, lowercase s. Okay, and her mother is a round pants. So round pants can only be homozygous recessive. So she can only be lowercase. Okay, so if that's dad and that's mom, they're trying to figure out what's Sponge Gertie's genotype. So take one parent, put them on the top, take the other parent, put them on the side, and cross. So capital comes down, lowercase comes over, capital comes down, lowercase comes over, lowercase, 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 lowercase. Okay, now that we have the Punnett square, these are the options for what Sponge Gertie could be. Now it's either homozygous recessive, which would give us, we go back up to the table, that would give us round pants, or she's heterozygous, which if you go up to the table, that would give us the square pants. So Sponge Gertie's genotype, therefore, is either this one or that one. So, what's Gertie's genotype? Big S, little s, or heterozygous. Okay, now Sponge Billy Bob is heterozygous for his square pants shape. Hetero means different. So what's his genotype? Hetero simply means different, so we got to have a capital lowercase. Okay, now part C, complete the Punnett square to show how the possibilities that would result if Billy Bob, who's capital S, lowercase s, or heterozygous, Billy Bob, and then Gertie, who's capital lowercase, had children. So simply put one of them on one side, one of them on the other, and then walk yourself through it. Okay, there's also a back side as well. Now when you're going through the back side, give the genotype for each person, walk through everything. You see it says complete the Punnett square. Got to make sure you complete it. Then at the end of the sentence, or the end of this little story there, create a Punnett square. So, make a Punnett square. For the next one, got a bunch of information, then create a Punnett square to help you answer this question. Create another Punnett square. Last one is SpongeBob and so on. Create a Punnett square to help you answer this question. If you don't create a Punnett square, you don't have evidence on why you're answering the way that you are, and you have to have evidence in science. Go ahead and get to work.